Well, once again, a very warm welcome to all my dear students. Good to see you all back in this program. And if you are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Miss Vivekunyo from Mount Sinai Higher Secondary School, Kohima. Today also I'll be taking up your English, that is English for class 5. And the lesson that we will be taking today is The Farmer and the Well. I repeat, lesson 14, The Farmer and the Well. You will find this in page number 49 till page number 51. Page number 49 to 51. So it's a story, it's going to be very interesting, and I'm requesting all of you to be patient and listen to the story so that you will be able to answer the questions that are given in your textbook, as well as you will learn the value that you need to practice in your life. I repeat, it's not only about answering the questions that are given in your textbook, but you will also learn the moral values that you can practice in your life. So this is going to be a story of a farmer. As the title says, The Farmer. So we will see how a farmer goes to buy a well. You know what is a well? A well is a place where water is stored. You have wells in your village, you have wells in your colony, and even at home you have wells. So we are going to discuss something like that. And before getting into the story, I want you to know what is neighbor. If any one of you do not know the meaning of neighbor, it is a person who lives around you, who lives nearby your house. Those people are called as your neighbor. And then we will also come across the word called shrewd, and shrewd here means cunning. I'm sure you have some cunning friends at school also. We will get into that later. And you will also come across a word called upset, and upset means to be unhappy or to feel sad. That is it. And advantage here, advantage has different meanings, but advantage here means that you are at a better position than your friend, even in different fields. And then you will also come across the word cheat while reading your textbook. So cheat, you all know what is cheat. We don't like a person who cheats, right? And so these are some of the words that we are going to discuss. So in a village, there lived a farmer. You know who is a farmer, right? Farmer is a person who cultivates. Because of the farmers, we should be thankful to the farmers. We get our daily food because the farmers work in their fields. A farmer is a person who cultivates any kind of crops for our survival. That means without them, we cannot live on this earth, because we need to depend on them for all our food. Some of your parents might be farmers, some of your neighbors will be farmers. So you all know what is a farmer, especially in villages. If you see, majority of the people there are farmers, or even if they have another job, they will still cultivate a small plot of land. And so we will be discussing about this. The farmer was looking for some source of water according to the story. So source of water, he wants to find a place where he can get water. We know the importance of water. I do not have to explain all those things to you again, but the farmer wants to find some source of water. Maybe he lives in an area where there's not much water and he needs it. Maybe he just get a little bit of water for his household works, or even he might also be having some gardens around his place. And so that is the reason why he needed water. He went in search of water, and in the neighborhood he saw a well. He saw a well, that means the place where water is stored. And so he went to the owner of the well and spoke to him. He told him that he wanted to buy the well. So his neighbor was a shrewd person, that means a cunning person. I want you to have your books along with you even as you listen. Okay, if you have not got your textbook ready, I'm just requesting you to be ready again right now, because by going through that, it will also help you. So the farmer went to his neighbor. The farmer was just a very simple man. We all like a person who is simple. Sometimes, even though a person may look simple outside, inward, we never know what is there in their minds. They will be having a lot of tricks. But this person, the farmer, is not a person like that. He just went to the neighbor. He told him that he wanted to buy his well and asked him if his neighbor could sell his well to him. So the neighbor was a cunning fellow. So he thought that this is a good opportunity to take advantage. That means he wants to take the chance out of this. So he said he can sell his well to this farmer. So the farmer was so happy. He thanked his neighbor, and then he went home happily. He was in desperate need of water source. He needed it so much. And if you look around, even now in your place, you will see that for almost every work, you need water. You need water to wash your clothes. You need water to cook food, to keep yourself clean. All these things, we need water. And so this farmer was so happy because he was able to get the well from his neighbor. He went home happily. And the next day, it was morning again. The farmer was happily going to the well to fetch water. That means to take out the water from the well. And when the farmer went there, he saw that his neighbor was standing near the well, the neighbor who sold the well to him. And then he prevented him to take the water from there. Prevented means to stop, okay? And so he prevented his neighbor to draw the water from there. The farmer was shocked and surprised. He was upset too. Imagine you buy something, and then next time when you go and try to take that person does not want to give it to you. What will you feel? It's going to be very upsetting, right? Even in your classroom. Imagine that you and your friend decided to exchange a color pencil. At school, what students usually do, I'm sure you also do it, because even in my school, children do the same thing. When you see your friend bringing some nice color pencils, you want to exchange those things with some other objects. And if you and your friend both agrees, you try to exchange it, but you imagine that your friend did not want to give you. You said you'll exchange 2 color pencils for your pen. And if that friend gives you only one, what will you feel? I'm sure you all will feel annoyed, upset, right? You will feel unhappy. So the farmer was also facing the same thing. When he went to the water well to fetch water, his neighbor was stopping him to take the water, saying that he did not sell the water and he sold only the well. See, how can a person sell only the well and not the water, isn't it? And so the farmer was so upset because his friend told him that they did not discuss anything about water. Of course, the previous day, when they discussed about the well, they might not mention the word water there. But the farmer thought in his mind that obviously for any one of us, even you, if you have bought a water well, you will obviously go and fetch water from there. And if the owner still stops you from fetching water, you will be angry. So the farmer was facing the same thing. He felt that it was a thing of injustice to him. It's not fair. And so he got so upset, he went back home. What he decided to do was, he decided to go to Birbal. You have all heard of Birbal, I'm sure. Birbal is one of the ministers of King Akbar. Even in your TV channels, you see the story of Birbal a lot of times. And so this farmer went to Birbal, one of the ministers in the court of Akbar. You know who is a minister. Even here in our state or in any other states, we know that the state is governed by the ministers, and even our country is governed by the minister. And so when this farmer went to Birbal, he told the same thing to him. And he said that he bought the well, but his neighbor was not willing to allow him to fetch water from the well. And so Birbal just listened to him. The next day he called both of them to come to his court. And when these 2 men went there, Birbal asked the neighbor, the cunning neighbor, why he is not allowing his neighbor, the farmer, to withdraw from the well, to withdraw water from the well. The man just said, he thought that he is very cunning. He thought that he is a very shrewd person. And so he thought that he can escape from this. And he said, I did not say water, I just sold him the well. So Akbar's minister, Birbal, thought for a moment, and he said, okay, so I'm going to give you some thing to follow. Since you have not sold him the water and only the well, what you are going to do is you have to pay the rent for keeping your water in the farmer's well. So Birbal came up with this idea. See what a good idea he had in his mind. Or if you don't want to pay the rent, you have to withdraw all your water, because the well does not belong to you anymore. It belongs to the farmer now. Since it belongs to the farmer, you cannot keep your water there. The farmer also needs to keep his water in his own well. That is what he said. And here, both of them stood there shocked and surprised because they did not expect something like this from them. See, we should also understand when you rent a house, you pay the rent. If you don't have your own house, especially in towns, there are so many people living in rented house. If you go and rent somebody's house, you have to pay the rent to the landlord. Landlord means your house owner. You have to pay the rent to your landlord every month. And so if you stop paying the rent to your landlord, the landlord have every right to send you out of his house because he kept you in his house because you have made an agreement that you will pay the monthly rent. This is how it goes about. So the same thing with the well. This is what Birbal told them, that they have to agree with these terms that he gave them. They thought for a moment, and finally this farmer realized that it was a very good judgment that Birbal had given to both of them. And after Birbal told this, the man began to think that he realized that he had done something wrong. Because he tried to take advantage of the poor farmer, because the poor farmer he knows that he was a very simple man. We call it straightforward. He was a very straightforward kind of man. He was a very simple man. He did not have any tricks in his mind. He just came to buy the well because he needed water, not knowing that this neighbor would do such a thing to him. But when he came to the court of Birbal, he again realized that this Birbal was a very, very wise man. We all like a person who is wise, right? He's a very intelligent man, and that is the reason why he also have heard of Birbal a lot of times, because they had been living during the reign of Akbar. When Akbar was still the king, everyone forget about during his reign. Even now, we all hear of Birbal's wise judgments. There are so many judgments that Birbal gave with his intelligence. And so he was known all over the place. This man also have heard about him, but he did not expect any judgment like this. But after he gave this, he pronounced this judgment to them. It made the cunning fellow realize his mistake. He thought that he will be in a very good position because he thought that his trick was a very good idea. He will not allow his neighbor to fetch water, but finally he was put in a difficult situation. And he kept thinking there. He also realized that he should not be doing this to his friend, because if he had to pay the rent for keeping his water in the well that was bought by the farmer, it will be difficult for him. And if he had to withdraw the water, imagine you have a lot of water, but you don't have any space to store it. What's the use of that water? See, sometimes we complain about not having water, but during the rainy season, we all know, even if it continues to rain, we don't have enough buckets, or maybe well, or we use a lot of buckets at home. So if you don't have enough buckets to store your water, those water will just be wasted. And so he began to realize his mistake, and then he apologized to ask for forgiveness. When we do wrong, we know that we always have to apologize. And so he stood there and he realized that he had been doing something wrong to his neighbor, and for that Birbal made him apologize. He made him to say sorry. I'm sure you say sorry to your friends at school or even at home. If you do something that is wrong, we know that we all have to admit. This person also realized, and now he was in a position to apologize even to Birbal and also to the neighbor, because he had done something wrong. He had been planning something wrong in his mind. And so he realized, he apologized, and from that day onwards, this person learned that he should not cheat others with his cunning tricks anymore. And from that day onwards, they did not discuss about the well anymore, because the well belonged to the farmer who had paid for the well. And so this is what he realized, and he also knew that he made a mistake in trying to take advantage of his poor neighbor, the poor farmer. And so we realized from this story that we should always be good to our neighbors. We say that neighbors are like our family, especially when we are not with your family. What do? When you feel sick, your neighbors come to look after you. These are the things that we all know about our neighbors. So you should always remember to be a good neighbor in any area, wherever you go. even in your grown-up stage, you have to move out of your home. You have to go out of your village to stay somewhere else. But always remember to be a good neighbor. This is what the neighbor failed to do. And here, from this story, I'm going to quickly recap the story once more. We know that the neighbor was shrewd at first. For his cunning tricks, it made the farmer upset, because the farmer knew that his neighbor had taken advantage of him. He tried to cheat on him. But later on, we also realized that when this man was trying to take advantage of his neighbor, he himself was put into a difficult situation. See, sometimes when we try to do things for our own advantage, you want to have something that belongs to your friend. I'm sure you have some friends like that at school. You have both good and bad friends, right? If I ask you this question, you will say yes. Some names will even come to your mind right now. If I ask you to name a friend who is very tricky in the classroom, or if I ask you to name a friend who is always very good. But sometimes good people are mistreated. Your friends try to bully them. Bully them means treat them in a way that they don't want. There are some friends who even beats their friend. And you should not be that kind of friend at school. When you see anyone trying to do something wrong in the classroom, what you should do is, you don't have to fight back there like the farmer. He did not just go and quarrel with his neighbor for not allowing him to draw the water from the well. But he took a very wise decision. He took the matter to the king's court, that is to the minister Birbal, under the king of Akbar. So what you can do is, you should always report things to your parents, your elders, or your teachers. At school, your teachers are always there to help you. Sometimes when you try to fight, even if you are in the right way, when you try to fight with your friends, you will also be put in the wrong place. Because nobody has the right to fight in a school. You know that, right? When you are in the school uniform, you have to follow the school rules and regulation. And to fight or quarrel in the classroom is not the right thing that we should all do. So if you see anyone trying to take advantage of you or even your friend, there are some friends who even feel shy to come and say their problems to the teachers. I'm sure you know that type of friends. If you see any friend like that if someone is mistreating that friend, even if it is not you, you have to make sure that you tell that to your teacher. Because by doing that, you are helping your friend and also you are doing the right thing. Or even if you saw it and you don't say it because it is not done on you. If you see a friend who is always very cruel in the classroom, trying to take away something that belongs to your friend, maybe a nice pencil, or maybe an eraser. So if you see those kind of things, what you should do is, you should go and tell your teachers what your friend is doing so that the teacher can talk to both of them. And that person will be made to apologize, and also that person will realize his mistake. If you just start quarreling and try to solve the problem by your own at school, what happens? The problem becomes bigger. If these two neighbors begins to fight, imagine, it will create a very huge problem. It will create problem to the neighbors too. But this farmer was very wise, though he's a very simple person. He took the right decision to go to the king's court and to meet the minister Birbal. He did the right thing. So what we learned from this story is that we should always be kind to our neighbors, to our friends. And if you see anyone doing something wrong, even in your classroom, you have to tell your teachers, you have to tell your elders who can help you, and not try to solve the problem by yourself. Because if you try to solve the problem, who knows, you might take some wrong decisions that will also affect you. So I want all of you to keep this story in mind. We should not take advantage of people who are weaker than you, and always try to work for justice. That means for equality. If you want to help your friends, take the matter to your teachers so that your teachers will help anytime, even to your parents at home, or if your parents are not around, you can tell any elders. So with this, we are going to end our story. I want you to be with me every time in your English class, and even the other subjects will come on. We will get to know each other better. Until then, thank you.